What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online broadcast in the world that is sponsored by Doveman Care, that is for fathers and dads. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. And another hat on this head that you can't see is I'm the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks that are involved in food, wine, and travel throughout the diaspora. We're broadcasting live on March 20th, first day of spring. So I don't know where you are, but today in Toronto, it was a nice sunny day. It was warming up. So spring is hopefully on its way. But more importantly, it's a Saturday night. There was a song by Earth, Wind, and Fire called Saturday Night. So I wonder, well, I can't play it because I know that YouTube or Facebook will just cut it, and I'm not going to sing it. But we do have a singer on with us tonight. Maybe she can do it one time. But you know what? It's time for Aisha and Jill. What's going on, Aisha and Jill?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, and I do notice a certain individual behind Aisha K. Staggers.
Yeah, that would be my Prince graffiti art.
Who did that?
Nice. I found it on Etsy.
Nice. How much do you want to tell us how much you paid?
For that one, I think I paid $129.
That's not bad.
It's on canvas.
That's not bad. Nice. It's nice. Really, really nice.
It looks good. It looks like a photograph.
That's what I thought. It does look like a photograph. So what's been going on this week, ladies? Other than some usual crazy stuff, what's been going on? Everything all right on your end of the world?
Yeah, things balance.
We'll leave it at that. You're moved.
Yeah. And you're moved. It looks good.
Yeah, so you can't see all the stuff that's in boxes still.
Yeah.
And you like the way she did it, and you can't see it. She gave the circle.
Oh,
I can see it.
Well, you know what? Oh, there's a request here already.
I know. Hey.
Well, maybe one day it'll happen, Real Django. Maybe one day. Well, we'd like to thank everybody that's jumping in live. And as always, please give your comments, thoughts, opinions. You know, the ladies will respond to them in real time. And we're looking forward to their epic conversation tonight. But let's start off on an unfortunate note. 8 dead in Atlanta spa shootings with fears of anti-Asian bias. Ladies, thoughts?
I think that if they keep, we've had so many shootings in America. It looks like it'll come back, sadly, because we have a lot of racists who live here and angry white men. White American males are dastardly. I mean, they're like ghastly.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but they're not making the ones who aren't look very appealing. It's really, there's a mental problem. We've known from the incel groups that they've existed and they're fomenting and they're sort of expanding. But the way that these people show their rage is, this is their only way. And with this case particularly, he's a 21-year-old guy who claims to have a sex addiction, went into these parlors, massage houses, and just shot everybody. And then basically the sheriff came out and said he was having a bad day.
Now let's hold with that. Now that comment right there. What about that comment?
Well, come find out that guy had worked for Blackwater at one point as a mercenary. So everybody is just revealing who they are. I mean, this is blatant. There's blatant racism, and yet they all feel like they have enough balls to come out and say this, but then they want to dance around the fire a little bit. And it's time that their feet get held to the fire. You know, there are so many things of the fetishism of Asian women, of Black women, all of it. It's all just coming to a tipping point. And, you know, the white Caucasian people in this country need to really, really step it up. They're doing a miserable job at really handling themselves and getting to the root of their sickness, because it's pretty vile what's going on. It didn't stop when there were children being shot in schools and, you know, all these attacks on Asians. And there was a 76-year-old woman in San Francisco
Heard about
who,
that.
if you see, they think there's a GoFundMe for her. She's still has lost some kind of vision in one eye. They're waiting. But when you see the aftermath of people, the assailant was being put on a stretcher and taken to the hospital because grandma found a stick and she whooped his behind. I don't know. He was bloody, beaten. I think his arm was broken the way he was holding it on the stretcher. But just to see, you know, him being given that treatment was difficult for me, because they should have made him wait. And should have made him walk to the hospital. I just, at that point, she's 76, two black eyes. It's heinous. What's more shocking is that there aren't people defending or jumping in and protecting these people when it's happening. And that goes, you know, brown people haven't jumped in. I mean, how do you let a 76-year-old woman get beaten on the street? Two black eyes. So obviously he hit her once and then he hit her again. So the fact that there wasn't anybody who stepped up is really pretty disgusting on a city street. That's a problem. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It just shows the more depravity. You know, today I saw so many tweets from people in Europe saying Americans are just not nice people. It was just going. There were so many people from all over the world, like, really saying Americans are just not nice people, period. And they might be right. The collective are really malignant at this point, even numb to getting involved or whatever. It's very, very scary.
Aisha?
There's so much to break down here. The one thing that it all comes down to is that Christopher Wray said it himself. Our biggest problem in this country is white supremacist groups. And the terrorism that is wreaked upon this country by white supremacy is going to be our downfall. It is the destruction of our institutions. It's the destruction of this country. And until we really sit and focus on dismantling and destroying it, and that includes dealing with the people who perpetrate it, we're not going to see an end to any of this. This incident was white supremacy, period, full stop. This man claims that he had a sex addiction when they know that he drove past several strip clubs and sex shops and all that to these two spas. And the women that he shot, the Asian women who were killed were between the ages of 51 and 74. So explain that to me, how it was to stop his quote unquote sex addiction. And then he point blank shot them in the head. If you can't control yourself, the problem is not theirs. The problem is yours. But even still, that is too a hate crime, because it's a hate crime against women. We're not just talking
Right.
We're not just talking a hate crime against Asians. We're talking a hate crime against Asian women specifically. The anger that I feel about this and seeing it rectified is that women of color are not safe, period, in this country.
No.
We're getting it from both sides. And working women of color, because you see, they don't go after diplomats. They go after the working women of color who are available. And it just, there's no other way. There's no way of explaining it. And I'm tired, you talk about the ways in which they talk about it. It's like, oh, we have a Negro problem. There's yellow peril. They talk about us as if we're the problem, when the problem's never been, Black
Themselves.
people, Asian people,
Right.
Native American people, any brown people. It's always them. They're the problem. It's always their problem. They don't want us, any of us. So until they take care of their problem collectively, we're going to keep seeing incidents like this happen. And Martin Luther King had these quotes in the letter to Birmingham jail when he said that it's the white liberal, the white moderate who does nothing, the nihilism of the white moderate who does nothing is why white supremacy persists.
Exactly.
You have white people who will do nothing but give lip service to how, oh, this is bad. But those are your skin folk. Like I told you, that's your person. You
Right.
deal with your people because you expect us to deal with our own and to be responsible for our people. You need to be responsible for yours, and stop patting them on the back and coddling these fragile white men and saying things like they had a bad day. I have a bad day. I fell on my ass today out of a chair. Okay, that was a bad day. Okay,
Right.
I didn't go out and shoot somebody. I got up, dusted myself off, and ate a piece of candy.
Well, any law
It's like,
enforcement official who would look at crimes with dead bodies,
yeah.
anyone who gave a damn would never utter those words. There's just no way. I mean, it was a deliberate comment. There's no apology that anyone should accept for that. This is a professional. And the fact that you could go to a crime scene and therefore utter that as, well, you had a bad day. That to me, he's in the wrong job and he needs to be removed, because these are people that will not take us forward. They're only revealing themselves for who they are. And, I'm just so tired of this racist of having to talk about it. Right. And I'm not in the way like that. I keep saying we talk and there's more of a more heinous crime following another one after another one. And it's like, when is it going to change? I mean, when? Because talking to, there's a young girl who I put on my Instagram. She had a poem, and she made a poem which was like, we've got to stop inviting white people to the cookout. And I thought about it for a long time. I think we've all tried to embrace them and say, please help us. But it's getting old because nothing's changing. And the foot in someone's behind that we need them to put it, we don't have the time, the energy, the patience, the mental stamina and strength to keep letting them handle it. That's the problem that's happening with me. And yeah, I get more angry as the days go on, and that's okay, because all they're doing is putting all the people of color lined up on one side, and we will outnumber them. We do, and we will always. So if that's what they want, more power to them.
I'm just going to interrupt because there's a number of comments I want to catch up on in the screen here. So first up, Real Django, just trying to keep my coolness. I don't want to offend anyone. And Chris, not a dastardly white man here, but yes, I see Jill's point. especially since my own father had a definite racist mindset. Thankfully, my mother was a polar opposite in the way she saw to my raising. The white, staunch Republican men in this country have been given license to voice their opinions and, worse yet, to act on them. Aisha's on the money. We must keep speaking out and up. None of us are safe if anyone else belongs to a targeted, marginalized group. That, and I'll come down here. He can that. And as far as the comments from the sheriff's department rep, it's not your job to editorialize. He needs to be fired. Clearly, he is racist.
It's true.
Yeah.
Real Django, sex addict, BS. So is that going to be the excuse thrown out here when whites kill people of color? This has to be nipped in the bud. And he also mentions, and then given the excuse that another mental weakness did it, not racism. Racism is a mental illness.
It is. I mean,
and one more thing, I just hear, he says, Real Django says, fixing racism won't be an overnight fix. It probably will take 100 to 500 years to fix. It'll take longer than that, but there we go. So we're just caught up on the comments. Ladies, continue.
I mean, they forget that, remember the guy who was targeting people in their cars in Baltimore and terrorizing John Malvo and his stepson. And, you know, what ultimately happens is when you disenfranchise one group and you keep like what they're doing in our community, it will only shed more bloodshed down the line, because they have to be silenced, the Republican males. They have to be, I believe that the filibuster needs to be gone. I don't even like that Biden wants to even give them consideration, because at this point, we need a break from anything of that mindset. They have too much power, as Chris Langford said. They have way too much power and they are using it. And when you do that to people after a while, and we don't see any results, we just keep seeing more destruction and more people being killed. And who cares what the media, how they want to depict it? People they're about to set it off. Now, if that's what they want, then, you know, I don't know what to say, but it will be the downfall of this country if they do not hold these men accountable for the things that they are doing. I don't know what's taking these attorney generals so long to start making moves, the FBI with their people. Start prosecuting them. Just start like lining it up. Just do it, because we need to see it going like this. We don't need to have media interviewing people for 60 minutes either. I'm sorry, you're in jail. You're in jail. You do not need to be on 60 Minutes talking about what happened at the Capitol. These are political moves, and these are people who should not have rights. When you're in jail, you don't have rights.
Well, I
did not watch 60 Minutes because they aired that stupid Capitol guy who calls himself a shaman, the mama's boy. I refuse. And it's time to start making these people accountable, even the media, because the media is a thirsty little, what's that snake, little fish, piranhas. They look for blood anywhere they can find it. They even make and concoct these stories, which legitimate to a degree, but then when it's a downtime and it's smooth, they totally come in and want to just stir the SHIT pot. And I've always said, those who stir that pot need to lick that SHIT spoon, because personally, enough is enough. You can stir it up, but we have people who are mentally not fragile, but racism. They dragged a man behind a car, Mr. Byrd. They did that. They have done that. And this wasn't very long ago. Yeah. They have done all sorts of things when they've been given, permission to. Ahmaud Arbery. These cases are still in, suspension, and we never see the light of day. We will stay on it, and we have to stay very focused on it, because if they don't get justice, none of us have it. But I'm telling you, there's a new breed of people sitting back silent that isn't even on their radar yet, who are sitting there going, you don't take care of this, somebody else will. And that's how it's going to go. I mean, it's just, I can even psychically see that.
These are the worst kind of people, because they don't care. What makes a terrorist is the fact that they're willing to die for this stuff.
To rain
They
terror
don't,
on people.
yeah, to rain terror on people.
That's what it is.
They're willing to die for it. They're willing to lose their lives in the process. And so those people who are at the Capitol building, each one of them was ready to die that day for the cause. That shows you how sick all of this is. They were willing to die for the cause. Now, what I think about how we're handling this is that we're not handling it at all.
No, we're not.
We find other things to call it so we don't have to deal with the main problem. If the main problem is white supremacy, we try to call it something else. So, oh no, it can't be white supremacy. It has to be sex addiction, or it can't be because he's a pampered, spoiled white kid. It has to be because it was his Asperger's that made him go in and shoot those 20 little kids and their 6 teachers. It can't be because he was just a fragile white guy and he just wasn't radical as Trump and the MAGA, that he went and shot 2 protesters during the summer of people protesting. It couldn't be that. No, it has to be something else. No, it's not something else. Until you call a thing, you can't deal with it.
I mean, I was thrown off of Twitter for 12 hours the other day because I dare say anything about this 21-year-old who killed these poor Asian family and destroyed so many homes and families. And I said, and Twitter obviously didn't accept my appeal, I was like, he should be castrated. He should be given a lobotomy and then given a death penalty. And so the reason I was basing it on, I was talking about a sentence because in Georgia, particularly, they still have the lobotomy. And they still have the chemical castration, and they still have the death penalty. But Twitter didn't see it my way. It was like, protect the little boy who had the gall to ask a question, am I going to go to jail for life? You know,
and I bet his Twitter account is still active.
They said he asked that, am I going to be put away for life? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, if you get to keep it.
Well, life plus 30, because he's going, look, life plus 30 times 6.
Exactly.
That's 180 years added on to that, because they're going to tack on the hate crime for each person.
Well, I just say, is this one of those states where your former president loaded up having Republican? Yes. So let's keep an eye on that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He won't get away, but he won't get, he'll get the Dylan Roof treatment, because if they decide that it is going to be a hate crime, he will get the death penalty. Because
we know that Joe Biden wants this. A couple of the House representatives and different Congress people came together on Friday to put across the hate crimes bill. We should have always had a hate crimes bill. Sorry to say. Yeah. But here's the other problem, Dr. Vibe. In this country, we are having a very difficult time with laws being enforced. I think I've spoken about this before, on a certain group of people. It's just, what can we, there is a bias, and it's not fair. It's not balanced. And it's going to take us a very long time to clean the anus of this country that Donald Trump populated with a bunch of turds. Okay?
Yeah. Thank goodness that Merrick Garland is in charge of the DOJ.
I mean, but what does he have to do? There's so many things. It's like, honestly.
At this time, he can prosecute for a hate crime, and he can prosecute this. Had it been Bill Barr, still, that would not happen. Because if you go back to Dylan Roof 2015, that was Eric.
Why did you go there?
Eric Holder.
Why did you go? Why did you bring up Bill Barr? Why did you?
Well, because had this happened a year ago,
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I mean, and then
there
we
might not have been anything more. And in Georgia still,
oh,
they might not have done
and
nothing
then
would be
Eric
done.
Holder, a lot of times, even though what he did in with what was the town in St. Louis in Missouri, with the gentleman who they killed, and Michael
Michael Brown,
yes. So the problem is that when we do hold
Ferguson.
positions of power as Black people or Asians, we overcompensate to not show favoritism for our people. Well, I'm going to just put it to every congressperson, if anybody ever sees it or anybody knows somebody who is, show favoritism for your people. Your people have nobody else, because most of the people in the Senate of Republicans do not represent, do not care, do not even give a damn. So we have to stop when we get into these roles where we go, like Obama even had at times didn't want to show that he was, showing favoritism to the Black race. They made him feel guilty about doing things when many people needed it the most. And let me tell you something. Yes, get in and show your favoritism for a minute, because there's nothing in history that's ever shown where anybody really gave a damn. We look at even Abe Lincoln. There was always a different agenda and motive for doing something. It was never from the goodness of anybody's heart. Let's not fool ourselves.
all
And
right.
they do it too. I mean, that's
They
the other
do it
thing. They
too.
do it too.
So let's catch up with comments because they're flying as usual. On a Saturday night. There's something about Saturday night and these two ladies that rock the world. So Real Django says we're excuse giving society. We're an excuse giving society, and then the media piggybacks on it, and then comes the networks wanting to make movies out of others' misery.
Right.
Black Beauty says they love division and racism and 45ism. Being in denial is not a continued option.
Right. It's not.
Chris says, Django, yes, excuses for white America. It's disgusting. And Real Django says, exactly, Black B. So
And one thing we need to do in order to also release some of this stuff so that we can deal with it, we need to stop talking about the last president. I have never, ever seen so much news coverage
I know.
given to a previous president in my life
I know.
after they're gone. Why is Trump in the news like every freaking day? Unless that man is going to jail and in handcuffs, I don't want to see anything about him.
Yeah, it's what they do because it was ratings, and they got the ratings. Yeah. But what they don't know is I'm not watching it that much because I don't want to hear about Donald Trump. And unless you call or you're going to tell me something that I go, okay, that's the end of that. This is like, hopefully in many years later down the line, different generations will treat him the way Germany treats the use of Adolf Hitler's name and his whole everything, that he will be a scourge seen on on white America and every other senator with him. Yeah. I just feel like if people don't realize they've been trying to get rid of our votes, putting us back, shooting us, what next? But we have to stop inviting them to the cookout and become more insular about what's going on until they make a stand for it. Because it's what race has not been demonized in this country.
And it's self-protection.
All right.
It is.
Let's move forward. Next conversation piece. Growing been for the last number of years, even with the previous administration, the number of migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexican border this year is on pace to be the highest in 20 years. Ladies, how is this going to be handled? How should it be handled?
I think it needs to be handled in a way that, we have to really take a long look at what is happening in migration of people. And just with climate change and different disruptors that have gone on. We had the leader of our country the last one, who made corruption okay. And you know how many leaders were grown from that? Like when I interviewed Baroness Valerie Amos, who was in charge of emergency things at the UN, she said it was coming along years ago. Dictatorships and different things were starting to mobilize then. But America used to be a beacon of like, this is right. We're going to set things on course. Everything is just like gone to hell in a handbasket. And everybody, I mean, look at what's happening in Brazil with Bolsonaro, just letting people die in the favelas and everywhere because he doesn't give a damn. And we can't even like help ourselves barely to help them. People are coming here because the climate has changed. They're scared. They also see an opportunity because Biden is in after what Trump was doing. And what can I say? It's something that's not going to go away because we're going to have to deal with it. And how to take care of people's children. That's a very difficult one. Keeping them in cages is not the best ideal, but what do you do with these kids now that are here by themselves? And that's just where it is. I don't know. I'm sure they're trying to get their head around it, but and I'm going to give them a minute to do it. It's like I have to still put up with that DeJoy and this United States Post Office crap because there's so many things that we're unraveling and balls dropping. Which one do you run to? Spinning plates. It's like, oh my God, here it is. Here it is. Not a package is taking 2 weeks to get to me, but obviously that is just one fraction of what we got to deal with. And I'm sure there'll be a solution. I'm not tripping. The media is tripping right now. I'm not tripping yet because I do believe that there are some really smart, intelligent minds there who don't mean to harm anyone, and they'll figure it out. So I'm not stressing yet.
Aisha.
I agree. I think the media is they're looking for Biden to fail so that they can have a bigger news story and juxtapose, do this whole Trump versus Biden thing because it works for their ratings, as we said before.
Right.
I agree with Jill in the point that give him a chance. The major thing is that he walked into a mess that was 10 times worse than what we probably know.
Yeah, because it would probably freak us all out, right?
Exactly. That the last administration really just screwed everything up. Okay. They left a lot of things in a mess, as we already know.
No, imagine us down.
Yeah.
He dicked us down.
Imagine what we don't know. Okay. So
yeah, that's
when it comes to these children, and the number of migrants coming over, one of the things that we have to deal with is that, wait a second, we're still dealing with the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Okay, don't come because we haven't gotten this part under control yet. We're trying to get this under control, and if you come, we're not going to be able to control this pandemic because we don't know what is coming in. Okay, with you, what are you bringing more COVID in? Okay, so there's that part of it that they can't control, and the other part of it is they want to do something on immigration. You have a stubborn part. You have a stubborn part of the Senate that won't want to do anything because of their racism, and so I believe they're going to figure it out. But they had to get past. They have to deal with the scariest part of what Trump left, which was the COVID.
Don't forget, Mexico started to work with Trump and partner tandem on that little nasty stuff they had going on. And they're not doing on their end of the deal. It's pretty obvious. The kids are showing up. They're not dirty. They're all clean. It's almost as if somebody put them on a truck, stole them, and drove them there. You have to determine if that's what happened. How did they get here? Whose kids are these? So basically, it's a strategy that's coming from something to, yet again, impact. It could still be old Vladimir Putin. Let's just be honest. And if you want to get to the bottom of it, it takes a minute to adjust. I remember when, not to relate kids to cats, but I lived in a place and all of a sudden I had 1 cat, 2 cats, 3 cats from the neighborhood, 15, 20 cats in the house at one point. That was a lot. I tried and then tried to get them homes and all this. And it just kind of piled up until I realized, okay, this is what's happening over here. And you can't be so reactionary, but you do the best damn that you can, and as long as it doesn't become this thing where the kids are like sleeping there forever. The reality here is that is one of Trump's biggest pain. He really is angry about that still. And he still has friends who probably facilitate bringing in all these little kids. First of all, these could be the same kids that came the first time that they got rid of and sent back. We don't freaking know. I mean, let's just be honest. There were still 700 kids and 700 women that were never located. We do not know. This is a mess. So whatever they have to do, they have to do. They can't chip them so they would know further. But think about it, even in depth, are you sure these aren't the same kids that they said they lost, but now somebody's bringing them back around? We don't know. We don't know anything. The most we can do is to try to take care of them the best that we can and to make sure they're not going back to something horrendous or heinous, because there are also mothers who are making similar choices, like Sophie's choice, where they're determining, take this one kid who may have an opportunity. There's a lot to unpack on this. But right now, you've got to deal with the pandemic and the kids and their wellness, no matter whose kids they are. You just have to deal with it. They haven't even been able to dig deep into the officers that were molesting the other kids. I mean, there's a lot that we have said. Trump dicked down the nation, and now we've got to sift through everybody who's going to come up with an actual claim, because that's the next thing. There are going to be some lawsuits, honey.
Yeah.
Big ones.
Okay.
And what we know with this, though, is that Biden's going to put the right people in charge. He's going to put people who will actually do the job. We also know that on Biden's watch, it's not to be a permanent
solution,
a permanent thing. Right. Trump intended for kids to be in cages to be permanent. Okay. And Biden's solution is not to just throw up a wall
and remove their ovaries. I mean, that was the other thing.
That was their thing was meant to be cruel and to inflict as much pain as possible, because they thought pain would be a deterrent. Biden's solution is to figure out how to get these people citizenship the best way they can.
Let me catch up on some comments here. Okay, I'll do some for this, and then there's some comments left over from the last. So we've got okay. Let me just check. Okay, I got being to fix it. Birdie Lynn says hello, and
Hi,
then
Birdie Lynn.
Okay, then we have. I don't know how to. Okay, let's clean up some comments from the last conversation topic. So I will take it here with Chris. Thankfully, there are a number of people of color, including women, who are in positions where they can truly affect real change. They all need to jump to it. If not, and Republicans regain control, we are all doomed.
Absolutely.
He also says, I know my last comment on the prior subject, on the day of the massacre in Georgia, a woman I work closely with who is from Vietnam received her U.S. citizenship. Now we have, we also have good analogy, Jill, read the cats. You are right. Too many unknown variables at our southern border. Okay. We also have someone saying, America the Great says Obama was the start of all the madness on the border.
No.
They also say, why do you always blame 45 for everything when you know Obama started all that madness on the border?
You're wrong. You're absolutely
Uh,
wrong. So go stuff yourself.
okay,
You're wrong.
so then we got Tamara McCauley.
White people started it.
I think the presidency is no different than any type of company that experiences a new CEO coming in.
Well, that comment is interesting though, because remember, people thought that because it was like running a business, that's why they thought Trump would be good at it.
Right,
Okay.
which is ludicrous. He can't even write. He can't even fucking tie his shoes.
Okay, so next up, imagine what President Biden has to do: figure out, determine the next steps, identify a resolution, and then resolve the problem.
Exactly.
Next up, also saying this will take longer than 4 years to clean up this mess.
I agree, Tony.
Wow, the comments are flying tonight. America the Great says Obama was the one who put up those children and those camps. What the blank are you talking about?
It was a temporary hold. Let me tell you something, because I was there. Okay. You don't know what I do on my off time. So let me tell you something. That was a 3-day, 72-hour. It was efficient. The turnaround time, they located the parents. This whole new vibe that came into it. Let me tell you something. When you can tell me where 700 women went, some were disabled, some were older. It was like what Trump did. Don't even start. Don't even start. I have friends who even live in Texas and have spoken about some stuff they've seen, and you would be horrified.
Okay.
You and yourself.
Let's go here. Black Beauty Joe presents a good point. The children look too well, clean, not even worried, considering that they've made a journey alone. Something's fishy about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
remember, they started off with 3,500 kids that they couldn't find parents for.
Right.
And all of those kids were kids that they tried to place in foster care.
Right.
They were temporarily placed.
Okay.
Do the math.
And
they never kept track of them.
Friend of the show, Dr. Tachi is
Hey,
here.
Dr. Tachi.
Let me get it right. Dr. Tachi, host of the livest online conversation about media, tech, and pop culture. It's called Media Scope, and it is on Wednesdays, 5:00 p.m. Eastern time. They go on IG Live, and then at 6:00 they go on Periscope for maybe another 11 days live. They go Facebook Live. I know they go LinkedIn Live. I don't know if they go any other platforms, but that's it. Oh, and also Clubhouse. They also go on Clubhouse Live. So let's continue on with our next conversation piece. We have here, and more comments are still flying in. So let's get to the next conversation piece here. America has counted 100 million COVID vaccine doses administered 59 days into Biden's first 100 days. Ladies, your thoughts?
Excellent.
Yeah. Here's just one thing, not to cut you off, Aisha. I love you very much.
Okay.
This is what I'm telling you. I've been saying it from day one. People who put their money where their mouths are and their word and give you their word, when they give it, you can believe it. With this, we were just talking about the border and different things about Biden and all this stuff. I believe he's a man who doesn't say his word until he knows the scope before he gives his word. I had a stepfather the same way. But one thing I always knew, I could count on him, because when he gave his word, it was solid, it was well thought out, it was very planned, I feel like, and then so efficient that it just works. It just all comes together. That's what good planning does. That's what somebody who is thoughtful about what comes out of their mouth. We had the opposite for about 4 or 5 years. And I don't buy charlatans like that and, grifters along the way. I think that he put his money where his mouth was. He said he would do this. And what happened is it just created this really amazing, invigorated people again to be like, I want to live my life again. And I want to get this monkey off my back. I want to be productive. It started to hand the reins back into people's hands of like, do you want to see your life continue in this hellhole, or are we all going to try to come together? And I think for the most part, he pulled it together, ordering more vaccines. My God, we found out there were no vaccines. It's like, what the hell was Trump doing? What was he doing? Girl, what was he doing? There was nothing there. It's like the cupboard was bare, honey. And he had, you don't know till you walk into it and you find out like, this bitch is empty. That's my point. He basically made this happen, and he did it that's a Scorpio for you. I'm telling you, Scorpios, tight lips, when they make a decision and they make a move, they make it, and you just sit back and it gets done. They will make it get done. I ain't hating on that. No, because with Trump had us all whittling away here, I thought it was going to have to be carving wood out of pencils, and
I'm just happy that you produce so much, because we're getting some of your excess in Canada. So thank you, America, for giving us some.
But that's what friends do, and it's like learning to be a human being again. It's called like, are you human or are you not? I mean, I don't know what we were over the past 4 years, but it was really deplorable. And she called it, and she's and it was true.
Yeah, and for me, it was like I was telling you guys before the show started, I went to go get my vaccine today, and they did so many that I couldn't get a vaccine today because they ran out. And it's just the fact that he did it in half the time that he gave himself. 100 shots in 100 days, and he did it in 59 is incredible. Amazing. But it is. But the other part of it too was that he got people excited about doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. So he got the buy-in of the people, because he got the right people out there. He said, we're going to do this. He put the right people in place. He let the scientists talk.
Yeah.
He made sure it wasn't about him, and that he was the end all know all who knew, he admitted, I don't know everything because I'm not a scientist. Here are the scientists, here are the doctors. And then he made sure he got all the people to support him by making sure people got the vaccine and showed you, look, it's not that bad, go get it. And then word of mouth, people got the vaccine, because here's the thing, people are tired of not seeing people.
Right.
It's like, I just moved and realized my aunt lives 2 floors down. I haven't seen my aunt in like a year and a half.
Right.
And she's been vaccinated. I went to visit her.
Yep.
The other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, and sat there, and my daughter and I were talking. We're like, that just felt so good to be able to see a relative.
Well, that's the problem. People have been alone. They've been so alone. And then you got these weirdos, with this thinking, that QAnonymous crap and all that. That comes from just being idle minds, devil's workshop. People ain't got nothing to do but to obsess on themselves, get paranoid, freaky, and now it's coming back where, I told you guys when I went shopping the other week, and it was like being in the movie Cocoon. There were so many like older people, because we also became a really callous society that was so ageist, didn't care about older people. It's pretty disgusting. It's just disgusting. We should all hope we live as long as like a Joe Biden, or even anyone in this day and age, because we do know that white males in America, their life expectancy has really diminished. In fact, most Americans' life expectancy has gone down. And all that comes from hate. When you have more love in your heart, you do a lot better in the world and in life. But, for me, I love that he is a man who puts his money where his mouth is and doesn't just jibber jabber, chit chat nonsense. I mean, I've never gone for men who are like that in my life. I mean, you wouldn't hear Prince just going chippy, 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 chirp, chirp, chirp. No. When things were said, they were clear. They made us boom, boom, boom. And I am very much in tune with people who do that. I ain't got time for anybody else and their bullshit, chit chat, jabber. That's why I never could vibe with like Trump's thing. I just don't vibe with that at all.
And now you can
ever.
start to see the sabotage. Because, for example, you have who's the governor of Florida? DeSantis. All the kids who are now in Florida during spring break.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos?
No, I didn't see.
And he has not once tried to help the national call. The national call for people wear your mask, distance, etc., etc.
But he never did.
He never did. He never did.
No.
He's making the problem worse. But guess what? Spring break in Florida is like spring break in Florida 2020, 2019, 2018, right. And every year before it. Because the videos now show all the kids, my daughter's age, your daughter's age, out there in big crowds, congregating together, having fun, no mask, no social distancing, bodies all over each other.
The good thing is my daughter's not a moron and neither is yours. So they can, I've never condoned that whole collegiate mentality in America. To me, it's just not my, anyway, you ain't going to see too many like people of color out there on the beach. So that says
a lot
another
of them were.
thing.
That's what was scary.
Like I said, well, then I apologize. I don't have a moron for a child, and neither do you. No. I think that it is not about them. The young people here are incredibly selfish and entitled, and that's just American kids. They're pretty entitled brats.
Okay, so in general, though, happy with the progress in regards to the vaccine.
Yeah,
excellent.
Okay,
His
no
rollout
problem.
was
Just want to catch up here. Real Dango saying, people want to live. I'm going to get the vaccine as soon as possible. Chris is saying the last 4 years, a true zombie apocalypse. I, for the only one that only raised the feeling back to life after 45-hour horror show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind. Poof. Then Tamara goes, we now have a president who puts the people first, a drastic change when you think of what we had previously.
Thank God.
Django is saying, exactly, Tamara, and we are up to date. So let's move on to our next conversation. This has been a lively Saturday night for a number of reasons. So let's talk about Biden White House sandbag staffers, sign lines dozens for pot use.
Right.
Let's talk.
Come on,
well, Biden. Okay, so you guys know that I told you guys once that I had a friend who ended up going and working at Homeland Security and then went and now works for Ted Cruz. Not really much of my friend, not my friend anymore because I finished that, finito. But they have these questions that you get asked in when you take these jobs, I guess, for clearances. So I'm not entirely sure about this whole story, but I do know that isn't it still considered illegal in DC? I mean, that's where it's kind of messing me up on this because when they ask you these clearance questions, they ask you things like, have you ever cheated on your spouse? And they ask your spouse too, and it's okay to be 100% open about everything you've ever done. And the reason that they have to do it is so that nobody can ever, it's to get rid of where you can be leveraged. It's like, at least they know out of the gate what they're dealing with you. Were you an alcoholic? Yeah, I was actually in college or whatever. So they tend to, that's when you get certain clearances and then they determine who gets whatever. So I don't know why he did it. On that note, he could also be like, my grandmother would have never, ever, no matter what you said, to say that pot was okay. I mean, she once told my cousin Paul he was like gonna die from drinking weed or smoking weed. So I don't know. I mean, it's very tricky. I don't know enough about about the reason behind it. I think it has something to do with the clearances. That's just stuff, and maybe I'm not supposed to know everything. I don't know. This is coming from the Daily Beast, and everybody wants to get their knickers in a twist all the time. I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
Aisha.
I'm wondering if it's because they lied.
Maybe.
And Biden said he wouldn't tolerate lying.
Yeah, he got rid of the other dude who lied. That is
Yes,
true.
yes,
And,
yes.
he did.
If they were open about it, I don't think that he would have a problem.
See, that's the part. Like, if they ask you in your clearance and you lie and they find out, then you become a problem. And that's how people get clearances, from what I was told. Like, if you cheated and you say, no, I never cheated on my wife, and they find out that you got a mistress across town, that's brought to, intelligence, their attention. And then you become a big question mark. It's a small lie, and it's your private life, but you could be leveraged by somebody for whatever, because they do look into your background. That's apparently a pretty healthy, stealthy background check.
Yeah, so I think that it might have more to do with lying than it would have to do with the pot use, because he worked for someone who had admitted pot use in his youth.
Right.
Okay. So, overblown story at the moment, you think?
Yeah.
I think Daily Beast doesn't have all the facts.
Okay.
I agree.
And just to put up on the screen, Cinema Canela. Oh yes, guys, Saturday live stream, and it's interesting. Cinema, she did comment on the last replay. I thought you guys were on Fridays, so I told her, no, we're on Saturday. So good to have you back. Thank you for taking the time. Like everybody here, as I said, you never know, because I never thought Saturday nights would be so popular, but Saturday nights are rocking with Aisha and Jill. Like, now Chris has some information here. It is illegal in DC. Fine, they can bust you. Otherwise, perhaps President Biden is viewing reefer madness. But I do think it's being overblown.
I mean, let's be honest. He has a son that, had a drug problem. There could just be trigger things for him. And, like I said, I still know some of my older relatives just did not ever come around that it was not a gateway drug to get you to, heroin. You'll be on heroin next week. I still had relatives who felt that way. And I know he doesn't believe that, but maybe there's something in the character of people. I mean, who's to say? But I think it has something to do with what Aisha said. Maybe it was lying. Maybe.
Yeah, because I think he'd be more understanding because of his son.
And it is illegal.
And he already said that they would not be fired for past use. So he's not one to go back on his word like that. So I think it does have to do with something else. And also too, that might be something that they have in common, but they also might have other things, that might just happen to be circumstantial. They also might have other things in their background checks that came up.
But let's be honest, like, if you are saying this is illegal and you're condoning a behavior that is illegal, that wouldn't really be right either. It just isn't. It's almost like we've gotten away with things when we go with our own morals by avoiding those conversations. And it is a conversation to have. But when drugs are illegal and you're obtaining them, maybe the ilk that you come in contact with are not always above board. So maybe it's like, once it's legitimately legal, you walk into the weed store or whatever and you get it. And it's like, who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I have a feeling his administration and everybody in it are targets for Trump's group of people who are definitely clandestinely trying to derail them. And I think that maybe you just don't want to leave any gate open in the wind. At this point, it's like, let's shut this barn down. This is what it's going to be. I know it doesn't sound right, but right now I'm not feeling that I want to expose anybody to more vulnerability than I have to.
Yeah. And for some, it might be that their past use is still present. And if they're in DC, it's illegal in DC.
I know it is illegal in DC.
Well, all right. So we're continuing on with the current American president, and his first 100 days aren't over yet, and people are criticizing him.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
He fell up the stairs.
Can they let him be great? I mean, come on. Can we let people be great?
What's really crazy is I think that social media has created where people are actually manifesting their own hell every day. I decided the last week, I'm not going to get into all of this. I did that with Trump because I thought I saw his behavior and his works. For anybody out there who seems to think I'm just jumping all over Trump, hey, judge the works. That was everything that I based everything on. There was a point where I thought Trump could really man up and maybe pull it together. A few people have said that politically, but he didn't. He was a big pussy, and he turned into this evil, maniacal, crazy narcissist that he's always been. But then with Joe Biden, it's like I'm not going to act like that broad or that chick who has never been touched by a man because we got all beat up by Donald Trump. No, I'm open to having somebody new. I'm that kind of person too. Once I'm done, and I'm on to something new, and I look forward, and I give people a chance. And I think that other people are just curmudgeons. They just want to see the negative. And right now, I don't feel like the vibe or that we're on as a society, civilization, I don't see it getting a lot of traction anymore. I actually think that people are excited to get back with their families, their friends, and get their lives back. Ain't nobody going to be having time to give the media this much attention. And the media is acting like a bunch of little whiny toddlers because they too want all the attention. So I don't have time for that. I got things to do.
Yeah, how do you judge the first 100 days at day 59? Answer me that. It's like you still have 49 days left to go. Judge the first 100 days on day 101.
He got people their money. He tried to do it respectfully and let people have their dignity. But you know what? It's like, let's just see that's 49 days that doesn't have to be devoted to trying to get to the 100 days because he already did it. Now it's just like ramping it up. Hell, everybody might be fully vaccinated in May. We don't know. Yeah. This is really like, let's just stop looking at things always in a negative view. But, news and the people that respond to it, it's always the negative stuff. And, people need to focus a little bit on trying to see the good. We have something good here. Don't screw it up.
Rio Django is saying it's crazy. Biden's been doing the right things. I haven't one complaint. Chris is saying, really. You're like this. I know both of you like this. So Biden tripped up the stairs. My God, Pence couldn't even hit the floor with his hat. Come on, media. This is actual news out right. there. There's actual news out there to cover.
You know why the news is looking for little things like that? Because when Biden got in, they realized this presidency is so boring because it's actually back us having to cover actual things like press conferences and people doing the work of the government and, debates on the House floor and the Senate and a president that does a press conference that's not a reality show that
how did they
actually doing the job.
They were entertaining him with Putin and a debate.
Before their news had become like primetime television, and they were loving it because people were watching them and not watching scripted TV shows because Donald Trump was being a carnival barker.
Right. But,
And so,
watching
and they
Fox
don't
is
have
like,
that anymore.
no. I mean, watching Fox and all of it is like watching bad dinner theater. It's just
Yeah.
bad. You're like, okay. And then you have the whole situation with, they're all kind of fading away a little bit. It's like they really are. Like they're all standing there, but they're all fading into the woodwork. Bye,
They
bye.
miss your former president.
Well, they can miss him all they want. They can. They don't matter anymore. They don't count. We voted. I heard one of the guys from the Capitol Police talking about something today on the radio that he said in his combat against other people, he yelled out, they were trying to say, and there were policemen, white policemen flashing their badges to him. Like it was really intense to hear this young man speak about it. And, he was like, look, I voted for Biden. And what's wrong? My vote doesn't count. I don't count. And it was like those people were there for blood, and they may never get it, Dr. Vibe. They may miss him forever, but that's okay. That is okay.
All right. Let's go to our second last conversation piece. GOP lawmakers who refuse to honor Capitol cops are accused of fundraising off their no votes.
I mean,
my.
the party of Blue Lives Matter not wanting to honor cops is rich.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't want to support them, but they want to claim they support them whenever something comes up, when the police do something wrong that harms people of color.
Anything to add to that, Jill?
There are a lot of things that these congressmen and people are doing that I never knew they were allowed to do in their fundraising. And it needs to, like I said, on that part of it, I need to see some results change. I need to see certain laws come up about restricting certain funding that they can get. I know that they called Kanye West on the carpet because he was fundraising, and young people under the age of 18 were donating money to him. And they will throw him under the bus. But there are many who have done a lot of things as well. These people are just skirting above the scum. And it's really got to stop, because all of it, there's a tipping point yet again with these people. They are supposed to serve us. And they really they don't feel any feeling for that at all. And idiots need to stop voting for people that don't really give a damn about you, and judge the behavior and the works. We are in a racist country. Racism is alive, and they are emboldened. They are proud of it, and they want us to know that they are here. So we got to do stuff about that. That's number one. They're proud of it. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore. So when the media tries to swoop and make these different stories, it's nonsense. They are here, and each day there's one who just opens it up even more. They want us to know that they want us gone. It's like that movie, The Omen or something. Get out. Amityville Horror. Get out. That's what they want.
Yeah, and you know what? These lawmakers, it's like 12 of them that don't want to do this, have me side-eyeing them, because it's like, oh, so if you don't want to honor them, then you must have been helping the insurrectionists.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look at what they did with Gavin Newsom. They've been coming hard for him, and we're supposed to go and vote for him in November. I'll be damned if I see them throw him out, because the reality is you knuckleheads were out here walking around with your red hats, not wearing a mask for weeks and months, and moaning that you couldn't. Orange County was disgusting. I mean, they were just the abomination of human beings. And we have a lot of racists in California. So if you're thinking of moving it, they came out the woodwork. We all knew they were here, buried in Agora, buried up and around past San Jose. We knew the pockets, places you don't go, but they're there. The biggest thing is now look at who's donating to the people, these leaders, and they're the other racists. Money speaks. They are donating their money to racist motives and legislation and all these things. I don't give a damn if Governor Newsom went and ate at the French Laundry. Hell, I'd have gone too. It's a nice place. But you know what? You're going to drag him for that? That's ridiculous. This is a person who did as the best he could, and with the tears and everything got all messed up, not because of him. I'll tell you why. Everybody whined and moaned, and every fake ass person here in Los Angeles, LA is full of fake people, and every stupid Karen. Oh, every Karen. Don't even get me started on the women.
No, we won't.
Let me just say one thing.
Okay.
White women are the fundamental linchpin in white supremacy. And we have to say that. They are. They hold it. And as much as they give you their platitudes, speak in our vernacular, oh, girl, hey, that's got to stop. That almost did me in this week.
We won't go there.
No, we won't. But I personally cannot handle that anymore, because they're part of it, and they're the same ones who basically, didn't get their way to open up their bar or whatever. Yeah, and now they want Newsom gone.
We're talking about people like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Karen, Jill's gonna get him.
Mm-hmm.
She has, but we're not going to talk about it here. Yeah. All right. We're not going to talk about it here. All right. For those who have been watching for a bit and those who are just started watching, we always end off a segment with this episode's cockroach. This episode's cockroach goes to a gentleman named Chris Roy. And Mr. Roy criticized a hearing last week intended to address discrimination against Asian Americans as an attack on free speech. He used the forum to denounce the Chinese government over the coronavirus pandemic.
Right. He's scum. Scum.
There he is.
Yeah.
I'm sure I said it as soon as he said that. His mother's uterus just shriveled up.
Oh, shame. You didn't. Oh, my gosh. Oh.
These people should not be in office. And let me tell you something. It's shameful what he said, particularly when we know that Los Angeles had one of the 17 people were Asian people were lynched here by a gang of white people years back. So they know their calling cards and their dog whistles, and they say these things that they're very proud of. It's bravado. They feel very good in how they say it.
Yeah. It's fodder for their base.
It is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Chris says, looking for my Cuban heeled shoes. That is one big cockroach.
Yes.
Awful person. Ladies, that is the end to another epic conversation. You were on fire as usual, and audience who are live, bow to you. You're on fire tonight. You're making Saturday nights hot, hot, hot.
I know we even had somebody pop in who just he watched the show just to be a MAGA cum.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
When haters even tune in to watch.
I mean, really?
Yes. So
not today, honey.
Not.
I'm not. No.
No. Okay.
Wow, the word is getting out. Even the haters.
Yeah, I'm telling you, those Twitter feeds are going to be a little hot for the next little while for you two ladies. You know that.
On a Saturday night, you waste your time. What? No.
Hopefully, as we go forward, we'll be one of those things where people can like, they're going out to dinner, they like check in, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
You
the dinner
know,
table. What are Alicia and Jill saying? Slap.
yeah.
Don't watch that.
Yeah.
Well, as usual,
Yeah.
ladies, I want to say thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking time for your
Thank
positive,
you.
productive schedules to share with us. First up, Jill, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
There it is. Jill D. Jones at Twitter.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha Staggers.
Yep. Aisha Staggers at Twitter. And on Friday,
Yes.
I will be presenting at the 1+1+1=3 conference, honoring Prince's Controversy 40, Diamonds and Pearls 30, the Rainbow Children 20 anniversaries.
Nice.
I'll be speaking on the Rainbow Children 7 ways Prince celebrates the Black history, culture, and political ideology.
Outstanding. Awesome. That's fantastic. Great news to hear that. And I am Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. Just going to read, there's some more comments that are coming in here. There we go. Chris is saying, Dr. Vibe, Aisha and Jill, thank you so much for a great convo. You are all terrific. Thanks right back to you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And Black Beauty, I wouldn't trade being part of this vibe for a steak dinner and wine. All right. Well, that's good to hear. That is good to hear. It's Dr. Vibe here. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Podcast News in 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online conversation for dads and fathers in the world that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. Also, I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, and its main purpose as a multimedia non-for-profit is to showcase Blacks in the diaspora who are involved in food, wine, and travel. And I'd like to say thank you for the people who, made so many comments tonight. Real Django, Black Beauty, Chris, Birdie Lynn was in for a little bit. Tamara, new person, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And if I did not include your name, it's my head, not my heart. So as always, we're going to close off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Remember love, faith, and respect. And also, too, remember to give yourselves grace, especially during this time in our history. Giving yourselves grace is so very important. It looks like we sort of have a home here at 9 p.m. on Saturday nights, folks. It looks like this is where it's happening. So God bless, peace well, keep the faith, and remember to walk good. And we'll see you probably next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay or listening on the replay, check us out on the Dr. Vibe, either Facebook channel or YouTube channel. And for the last few days, Periscope. God bless, peace well, keep the faith, and walk good.